I hate you, Terry.
Yeah, let's just go straight into it. Hey everyone, welcome back to another episode of Rugby League Outlaws.
We're going to kick the show off tonight with what everyone is. We're going to talk some black, white and blue.
And this is brought to you by Winnett Civil Grading. And
we were in it to win it. We are. The Sharks aren't.
We were. Don't say we.
Yeah, I can't say we. We didn't make any tackles.
We didn't make any tackles. Thank God.
Terry, I usually throw to you first, but tonight I'm going to have the first say.
This is all yours, man.
I think the wins of the last few weeks have papered over some cracks. I also think the bye came a week too late.
Yeah, I think the same as well. We can't keep saying we.
No, well, I'm going to keep saying we. I flat chat don't care.
We had the wake-up call against the Tigers, and then we've been pretty good since that.
Been very good since, I agree.
Capping off with a big, emotional, emphatic win over Melbourne. Now, despite what you want to say, they're 1,000 kilometres away from each other. That's a rivalry.
Big time. Yep.
That is a rivalry. Those clubs hate each other, right? And we needed to have the bye this week.
Yes.
Now, what I've said on this couch, in the podcast, on Zero Tackle, the Knock On podcast, please make sure you're watching, listening to all of it, is that if you want to beat Cronulla, you've just got to turn up and be enthusiastic. Mm-hmm. You've got to want it way more. And the Roosters had 2 debutants, 2 guys who hadn't played this year, a halves combination with 3 games together, 20 games in total if they're lucky. And they just wanted it more. They just absolutely wanted it more, to the point where they played until the 79th minute and 58 seconds.
Yep.
They absolutely wanted it more. And I said this to a friend of ours, Paul, who was at my house last night watching the game together. You can't write off a team with James Tedesco.
Also true.
That guy is a winner. He doesn't know how to lose. And he was so, you could see it in his face, he was so animated, and that came off the back of not getting his Origin jersey back, that I think he was the second best player on the park.
Yeah, he definitely drove him. I'm sort of 50-50 here, or 49, I'm 49-51. 49%, who cares? It's just one of those games. Cronulla, they were looking for the bye, and I'm 51% furious internally. So we'll go with the first 49. Fins up, I'll do the other 51%. Cronulla rocked up, and they were all smiling and laughing, and as they do most games. But again, I go back to what I said before. Haroti's been really good this season, but
in the centres.
Yeah, he is what he is, and he was found out on the weekend. Billy Burns has been fantastic, to the point where we probably didn't need Teague Wilton back this week. He's not Teague Wilton. He's nowhere near Teague Wilton. We've seen what he is what he is. Jesse Ramon's been in terrible form for 6+ weeks. This past weekend, we didn't win.
Worse.
They got found out. Last week against Melbourne, he got injured early, despite what some commentators would say. He didn't have a brilliant game, so he didn't have time to. But he's been poor. Braden Trindle's been pretty bad since, round 4 or 5. He had that one good game against Manly.
And the Bunnies.
Yeah, 2 good games since. But he also hasn't been very good. The wins paper over this, and you're like, it doesn't matter while winning. Now you're not. You lose, and suddenly it becomes big issues. I've seen all the things. Nicho Hynes sucks. He was one of our best the other night. Kennedy sucks again. Okay, he's had two below par games. Okay, whatever. The forwards won't go with Adam Fanua-Blake. I agree with that. Yep. They're not. Suddenly the injuries became a thing, where last week Noel mentioned the injuries. We're at a point now where this is probably what we are right now, where last week we beat Melbourne. We're on top of the world. We can win the title. This week, everyone's doom and gloom. Not that much has changed over the week, which is why I'm not teeing off. And I will, I promise. But you look at that and you think, okay, that Roosters team, 1 to 5, very strong. Halves, forwards, deplorable. New South Wales Cup. And unfortunately, looks like Cronulla went in with the same attitude. You cannot look me in the eyes. I don't care whether you're a player, a fan, an official, or you've never even watched rugby league before. You look at me and tell you Cronulla approached that with any seriousness compared to what they did last week, you're a flat chat liar. Yeah,
I think there were 7 players on the park who were better than anyone before you got to say an Adam Fanua-Blake and a Kale Lero.
Right.
And they were the only 2 guys I would have let on the bus on the way home.
100%.
Yeah, now I gave my 1 point to Nicho Hynes. I still would have made him walk.
Yeah, we had to give someone a 3 because to keep the integrity of the very, very serious award we give out at the end of the year. It was just a terrible night, and I've seen it 3 times now. The Dogs, I felt we were out enthused by a team that got told they couldn't win.
Had no halves.
Yep.
Yeah.
Canberra,
Yep.
The game was done. Cronulla had it parcelled up. We're kicking early, just pinning them in the corner, defend them. Didn't chase hard enough. They had 4 blokes there. We had none. Then again the other night.
Yeah.
I had 4 times actually, because the Tigers was the same. They were missing players. Lachlan Galvin was coming back. Everyone was laughing. This guy's a cancer in the club. They're going to be rubbish. Comes back, best player on the park. Cronulla's got an attitude problem. We've been saying it for years. I don't think they approach and go, yeah, we're going to flog these guys. But I think in the back of the heads, that's what they think. Dangerous.
Yeah, the best and worst thing that happens to Cronulla is the best thing is we get on a winning streak, and obviously you love to have a winning streak, but then the players start reading the newspapers and you can't tell me they don't.
No.
And straight after we beat the Storm, it was, contenders, watch out, Sharks are coming, Aden Fanua Blake's here for this exact reason, blah, blah, blah. Yeah.
Hey, Cronulla are just... The best time to get them is after a big emotional win, because they often lose. So the opposite of Melbourne. Mm-hmm. You don't want to play Melbourne off a loss. You don't want to play Cronulla off a win.
Yeah, exactly right.
Look, let's talk a few little breakdowns. Ronaldo Mulitalo.
Yeah, sure. I didn't think he did anything wrong last night, apart from the shoulder to the face.
Look, the shot was bad. It wasn't... Okay.
I've got 2 issues with this.
Yep.
Let me bring this out here. I've got 2 issues with this. One, there were 3 shots worse in the Canberra game. That didn't get binned. Yeah. And the second thing, who was the referee? Grant Atkins.
Yep.
Turned around and said that is direct, forceful contact to the head.
I thought he was off.
Yeah, no, sin bin.
Yeah.
Why wasn't there HIA? Direct, forceful contact to the head is an automatic HIA.
You're correct, yes. Mm-hmm. And I don't want to get in the blaming referees.
Oh, no.
But
Grant Atkins was not the reason we lost. Yeah.
You're 100% correct. It's something that I had written down and discussed on a post-game show. The shot itself, it looked worse than it was because of the whiplash.
Yeah.
Do not get me wrong. If they fight it, I would be devastated because he's going down. Just take the week and rest him.
Take the week, go.
A lot of people went straight in at him saying this is what you deserve, blah, blah, blah. Any player that chirps, anytime they have a bad game, they're going to get this reaction. Mm-hmm. I saw a Sharks fan, it's unfair to target Ronnie. He puts himself in the shot window, it is what it is. We wouldn't have it any other way.
Did he have a bad game though?
He was fine. He just talked a lot of crap. He got sin bin, and I think he got stood up once or twice. And he's going to have to cop that. Whereas, look, Iro probably didn't have his best game. Humble dude, everyone loves him. No one said boo about it because you put yourself out there, it is what it is. But let's talk about that bench makeup. Hoheipapuru went back to the Jets, thank God, was arguably the best player in the park. 54-point win.
Was Tukes the 18th man last night?
Tukes was the 18th man, which, whatever, it is what it is. A couple of players on that bench I think can be very, very lucky that, say, Toby Rudolph isn't fit, and that Fitz has proven he will not drop someone for a lack of form.
Yeah. If we're serious about the lack of form, Jesse Ramien's having a spell.
Yep.
He's absolutely 110% having a spell. Chris Vaiella comes into the team, whether he's in the wing, on the wing or in the centres. Hoheipapuru has to be named in the side somewhere.
He does.
Hamlin Uele, just, I don't know what to say. I fought you on this couch and on a podcast to say that signing Hamlin Uele early in the season and not giving another team the opportunity to snare him from us and beat off the Warriors to get him.
Yep. In hindsight, Jack Williams was playing career best football.
And look how good he was at Parramatta.
Yep. And Braden Hamlin-Uele is...
He stinks.
He does stink. I can't believe it. I saw some people bagging Jess Culhin. Okay, he lost the ball, but I thought otherwise he was way better. Siva Talakai played exceptionally well, huge minutes the other week. Comes back on, barely sighted, barely gets minutes. The only time I did notice him, and it's not a crack at him, it's more Fitzgibbon, was that we conceded a try as he was walking off, and he turned around and goes, "What the flip?" Didn't say those words. He was like, "Are you kidding me? I've been off for 30 seconds, turn around." You stand underneath the post again. Fitzgibbon has got to get someone, because Josh Hannay is going to get a gig somewhere. I'd let him go get the Perth gig. He's got to get someone to say, "Do you know how to use a bench?"
Yeah.
Because he doesn't. And again, that's another crack that's been papered over, because last week he was down to 2 men. Didn't have to see that. So, look, it's not the end of the world. We got to buy this week, which is perfectly timed. In hindsight, you would have preferred it last week. Those aren't games that will define us. I had someone say to me, I'd rather beat the Roosters and lose to Melbourne. I'm the exact opposite, because you don't play teams like the Roosters with the New South Wales pack. Funny to say after they flogged us. Come finals time when we get serious, we know we can beat Melbourne. I want him to go away for 3 or 4 days. I want him to not log into social media. I'm sick of seeing him, so-and-so said this in my DMs. Who cares? You're a football player, getting paid $100K. Who cares? Don't talk about football. Just go party with your fiancé, your wife, whatever. your fiance, if certain players from the Tigers are watching, just go get away from football, come back with a different attitude, you'll be sweet.
Dan,
Talk to me, Terry.
let's get outside of the Sharks.
Please and thank you.
Let's just do it. Let's
Some breaking news.
not the way that I thought this was going to play out.
I mean, either.
No, Lachlan Galvin all but confirmed on a 3.5-year deal to the Canterbury Bulldogs.
Yep.
I was absolutely certain that he was going to go and play 5'8" to Mitch Moses, and then you'd have the player swap of Galvin goes there, they would release Brown to the Knights,
yep.
Kai Pearce-Paul would go
to
the Tigers, yeah. And, you know, little squad fillers move here and there to get it over the line. Lachlan Galvin's going to play halfback.
Yeah, I don't think he's going to play halfback.
Well, that's what they've said.
Yeah, but I think he'll go over there and they're like, remember how they signed Stephen Crichton to play fullback? I think the Dogs just get the deal done. I think he'll be playing lock before too long. Now, the talk is it's going to be pretty much straight away. I believe one of the teams has a bye this weekend and it'll all happen. Galvin has to play his last game for the Tigers. He was absolutely awful and they turned on him real quick. Funny that when you come out and say this club's full of bollocks, that's what you get. I was a bit worried about the Dogs. They're getting a real good culture going. They're winning games. The crowd's up. Isaac Moses has got his clause in there. 12 months from now, everyone will be talking a different tune.
Okay, I'll say this. If there's one person that can handle Isaac Moses, I think it's the guy we're going to talk about next.
Yep, that's true. We'll leave that for the end.
We'll leave that for the end of it. But look, I can't see him playing. I think if you're going to move someone to lock, I think it's going to be Burton. He's bigger. He's the bigger body.
Yeah, you're fair. Burton's been playing. There was talk of moving him to 1 and dropping Connor Tracy. And if you're Connor Tracy, you're like, hey, what the hell? What more could he do?
Look, this is the thing with Connor Tracy. He's serviceable, but they're always looking for the next big thing.
Yeah, which is a shame because he's been so bloody good.
And they got rid of that Joash Papali, who looked pretty good for Parramatta.
Yeah.
So I don't know. Look,
how do they afford him?
Yeah, that's the next question as well. Is that you're talking about Parramatta were offering up near $1 million a year. It sounds like he's taking less money to go to the Dogs, 750 or 700 grand or something.
Yeah, bum.
But I don't think you got to worry about next year and the year after and the year after. You got to worry about this year because the Dogs have got a full squad. How the hell are they affording him unless they've really cucked the Tigers and said, yeah, we'll give you 165 grand, which doesn't count towards our cap. It's just $165,000 of our bank. One of the biggest clubs in the NRL that has money rolling in. They said, yeah, we'll give you 165 grand, but you're paying his wage.
Yeah, look, maybe something like that.
It's the only thing I think of.
So I got a couple of thoughts. The first is good on the Dogs, whatever.
Yeah, great.
They've got a play that they deem to be necessary. I'm not going to sit here and pretend I don't like Galvin. A couple of weeks ago, I was calling the Tigers crazy. Yep. I thought he was the future of the club, and I can't believe it ended the way it did. All the Tigers fans that had turned on him were singing his praises beforehand. That's what you do. I think the Dogs have signed a really good player. I think they've signed an excellent 5'8" / lock. But if he's going there to play halfback, one, Toby Sexton, again, is going to be like, what the hell? What more could I do? And two, they're just going to have the same thing that Newcastle had. They're going to have 3 or 4 number 6s playing number 7, and it doesn't work.
Now, Matt Burton has played a big tenure of number 7 at Penrith, and Jerome Luai was the number 6.
Yeah, true, but I think Luai played a fair bit of 7.
Yeah, I think it's going to be the same thing that you see at Cronulla. They're going to run out with numbers on their back, and who cares? One's going to play one side of the ruck, the other's going to play the other side of the ruck.
So Dylan Brown and Lachlan Galvin coming in were probably in your top 5 or 6 or 7 or 8 5'8".
Well, Galvin would have been top 5 for me, no.
Well, both playing halfback next year. And they're so different because we saw what a difference Newcastle made the other night with,
Fletcher Sharp, Tyson Gamble.
Yeah, I know. Well, Gamble was good. You might joke, but players that play in their actual positions, you're like, oh, okay. Yeah, look, I'm good on them. I'm not gonna say it's a bad signing by any stretch, but you're just like a lot of players that are very similar, doing different roles.
Because you still got Kurt Mann.
Yeah,
who's
Bailey Hayward.
Yeah, Morin.
Look, they do have 37 options if something goes wrong. I think he'd be playing lock before too long. I like the signing. But
I just don't know where it fits.
How it came about, Terry, is just a little bit humorous.
Yeah, let's talk about the next one. I said that this guy, if there's anyone that can keep a rein on Isaac Moses, it's Phil Gould.
Yep. Shoot operator.
My biggest gripe with Phil Gould is what 95% of the rugby league world has, is that Phil Gould is the head honcho of the Dogs. Mm-hmm. the football club general manager.
Yep.
Makes all the decisions.
Yep.
Recruitment, retention, the coach.
Everything, yeah.
Handpicked by Phil Gould.
Yep.
He's in the media.
Yes.
Has his own talk show. Has his own podcast.
Yep.
Oh, no, we don't want Lachlan Galvin.
We're not in the Lachlan Galvin.
We're not in there. Lachlan Galvin, he's a good young player. Needs to get out of the Tigers. Oh, if we could sign him, if we were in a position to sign Lachlan Galvin, we'd love him.
Yeah.
Can't tell me that.
No, especially when Isaac Moses has his direct number and vice versa. Look, I'm going to play devil's advocate here.
Go for it, please.
And say that 6 or 8 weeks ago when Lachlan Galvin came available, Gould said, we're not in the business. He came out and said recently that things have changed and it became clear that Galvin wanted to play for the Dogs, so we looked at it more. I'm going to take him at face value for that, even though I have my doubts. You look back and he said he needs to get out of Tigers. He needs to get out immediately. We got no interest in him. Even if that is true, that's not a good look.
No, it's not, and that's the problem. I love the fact that Phil Gould is involved in the game, but he has to be one or the other.
I agree.
He has to be the general manager or he has to be the Channel 9 spokesperson. He can't be both.
It's an unfair advantage is what it is.
Yeah, imagine, flip this. Imagine if Dino Mezzatesta was on every Fox League talking about off-contract players and then they all rock up at Cronulla. People going, oh, well, that's the Sharks CEO.
There it is.
It's the similar...
It is. I'm a huge fan of Gus Gould. I don't like the fact that he says plurals and singular seemingly at random. I think that's a bit of a joke he's got going. I also don't like the fact that he blocks 95% of people just cause.
Myself included.
And me. I had to go looking for it on the Outlaws account. But I don't really care about this, but it's starting to look like, no, the Tigers don't need you. You should definitely get out. Young kid, under a bit of, from his manager. Come on over, we got a contract for you, even though we don't want you. Yeah. So I can see why people are upset.
I can definitely see it as well. And this just affirms the point. It's the same. The other gripe that I have with Phil Gould is the same as Braithen Astor, a player manager with one of the biggest superstars to his name, and he's got a platform talking about off-contract players that are his.
Yeah, and he's always positive about them, but I suppose you get to those roles.
Yeah.
We got to sign some players and get them on the books.
Yeah. Now, Daly Cherry-Evans, where's he landed?
The Roosters, evidently. Although, after a couple of weeks ago saying, I'm not going back to Queensland, the Dolphins are back in the chase. So he's probably gone to the Roosters, not got the deal he wants, called the Dolphins. Dolphins will tender a deal to go back to the Roosters, and the Roosters say, sweet, we'll match it.
Yep.
It is what it is. I don't think they need him.
I don't think they need him when you think that Sam Walker's coming back, but the Roosters, this won't be the only player they sign.
No.
Joey Manu will be a Rooster in 2026.
You chuck Reece Robson, he's already...
You chuck Reece Robson in there. Someone will come off contract that they will be able to get their hands on.
It looks like they're trying to... we'll win it again. It's the Cooper Cronk deal.
It is. This is the Cooper Cronk deal.
He's not Cooper Cronk, and they're not in the spot with Cooper Cronk. But you got two pretty handy halves that tore Cronulla to shreds the other night, right? And Sam Walker is Queensland origin certainty, I'd say, one day.
Mm-hmm.
You got to think one of those two. You're definitely going to lose one of them, more on that in a second. And the other one's going to look and say, I'm probably hanging around if Cherry-Evans is a 1-year deal. But 1-year deals become 2-year deals very, very quickly. Yeah. So I think you're going to lose him too.
I don't think you'll lose Hugo because Hugo can play. He's a big...
You reckon he goes to lock?
You saw the comparison of the two of them standing after the Sharks game, and it was twins. It was like Arnie and Danny, right? Sam Smith's tiny, Hugo's big. You put a bit of size on him, you got yourself a handy back row, right? You got yourself a handy bench player.
Yep.
Imagine you got somebody who can play lock, back row, and fill in the halves, right?
Yeah, that's fair.
So I think where lots of people have earmarked Sam Smith as the 14, I think it's going to be Hugo.
Yeah, no, that's fair.
But Sam Smith, pretty handy player, pretty handy goal kicker. Yep. Looks like he's going to...
the Cowboys.
Why?
Well, they've shown that they don't believe in Jake Clifford.
Yeah.
They've dropped him again. Tom Duffy's evidently been told to look around, which I think, say, Parramatta are going to need to look at a player of that sort of talent and bring them through, or possibly, Blaze Talangi would have been a good option. But anyways, he's gone. Jackson Purdue grew up as a 6, was killing it in the centres. They moved him. He had a shocker the other night. One game, not writing the kid off.
He'll move back to the
He will. I'm not writing the kid off. Maybe he's a future 6, and that was just what they're doing. I get it. to get him up there with Tom Dearden and play 7 next to Tom Dearden, I think that's pretty handy. I mean, I like it. I think it's a good move for young Sandon Smith, who's come out and said, I'm not going to sit behind DCE for 2 years. I respect it.
Yeah, Sandon Smith and Tom Dearden are too
They're
similar.
too alike. I mean, we're seeing it a lot in the competition. The Roosters they're going to have to put $1 million into Cherry-Evans. He's old. He's not been good the last few weeks. He's shown that he will backflip on a deal, and if he's upset, he will
DCE was sensational against the Cowboys.
Yeah, but how's he been before that?
It doesn't matter.
Not so good.
He's only as good as his last game.
Not so. Yeah, well, we'll discuss on Thursday. We'll know more then. I feel like they're making an error here, and good on them. Mm-hmm. I hope they do it. I hope they give him $2 million. But
yeah. I can see the Roosters' logic in it that it's worked in the past. They got Cooper Cronk, they got 2 premierships.
Yeah.
They're kind of hoping if they get DCE, they'll get 2 premierships. But when they had Cooper Cronk, they also had a really, really good front rower.
Yeah.
Now they don't have one.
No.
But they had some pretty handy players to Cronulla.
They do, but no.
They know what they're doing.
But DCE, mate, in talks with the Roosters. Also in talks with a certain Origin referee this weekend.
I know nothing about this. You put it in our run sheet. Mm-hmm. I had to question you. I've Googled it. I still can't find it. It's all yours. I ain't saying boo.
There is a photo of Ashley Klein and DCE after what was described as a 20-minute chat, and there are people blowing up saying they're cheats, they're mates, they're this, they're that. This is the most non-story of non-stories I've ever seen in my life. This guy has refereed games for, 10 years in the NRL? And
longer.
A lot longer in the Super League. Mm-hmm. Cherry-Evans and he see each other pretty much every week or every other week. They're going to be mates. Klein was getting photos the other week with Sharks fans after the game, and Newcastle fans blow up and said, he's a cheat, blah, blah, blah. Ashley Klein's the kind of bloke who's not going to say to a kid in a Sharks jersey, I'm not getting a photo with you, because people like us will be sitting and talking about what a dick he is for telling kids to go away when they just wanted a photo with a famous person. Anyone who has an issue with this, even if Ashley Klein referees horribly on Wednesday night, is looking far too into it. There is nothing there. This is dumb. There's plenty to get outraged about. This, not one of them.
All I can hope is that both captains were invited to have a chat to Ashley Klein about the expectations of Origin. Basically, the conversation should be, I don't have a whistle unless you take someone's head off last year.
Yeah, referee like he does. Yeah. I always love the way Klein referees Origin because...
And grand finals.
Yes, because it's...
You never see him.
No, you put it away.
You never know he's there. Yeah.
Unless it's that flying elbow drop from the top of the post, in which case he's like, 6 again, whatever. I have no issue with this. I have no doubt that Nathan Cleary will chat with him, or Isaiah Yeo, whoever's the captain. I've also seen referees...
I don't even know who your Blues captain is, mate. How bad are you?
It's Yeo. Shut up. They're both premiership winning captains 4 times. 4 years in a row they won a premiership. Whatever. You shut up. You're the worst. You've never even been to Queensland. People giving you grief last week, and I liked every comment.
Cool.
So let's end on that. That's funnier.
Let's talk about something funny. Let's talk about something really funny.
The clap.
The clap. Now, let's go back to when we had to do our predictions.
Yep.
And I...
Long time ago.
And I said to you...
People have forgotten, Terry.
A mainstay in the top 8 for the last couple of years and for the next couple of years.
Sharks.
The Canberra Raiders. And you're like, no, I had them like 13th, 14th, 15th, battling out for the spoon.
No, not the spoon. No, they don't like that. They've been told they would have won the spoon, and they remind people. So let's not mix that nonsense up. But yeah.
But you didn't want them in the top 8. I wanted them in the top 8. We ended up putting them like 11th.
Well, you should have fought harder.
Can't fight you.
Look, yeah, I'm too...
I don't want to lose.
Too adorable.
Yeah.
Look, I did have the Roosters in the 8, and in hindsight, they look pretty good this week. You're only as good as your last game. Your words, check the tape. They were better than the Raiders. Yeah.
Raiders second.
Look, there's
Didn't you say that you were going to put the Raiders number 1 in your power rankings that don't make sense?
I said I might.
Yeah.
That was off camera though, doesn't count. I am willing to...
I'm pretty sure we were rolling.
I'm willing to concede that Canberra are pretty good. Now, there's still time that they miss the 8, and I can ha-ha you. I don't think they're going to do that.
I mean, like, they could come 8th if they have a calamity fall-off. But...
I sat with our good mate Solzy on this very virtual couch and admitted where I was wrong. And he didn't nerdy me like you are. You should have fought harder. But yes, the Raiders are a very entertaining team, and I'm glad for their success.
The last, 15 minutes of that game against the Warriors Why did anyone in a Warriors jersey think it was a great idea to run at Joe Tarpany?
I wouldn't run at him at any time.
No, but
yeah,
like,
he led.
For the last 15 minutes of that game, the minute Canberra went in front, Joe Tarpany took it personally saying, I'll lay everyone out who runs at me.
He did. You see him running and just shoulder that bloke in the back?
For no reason. And then you see him on camera like smashing himself in the head, and then he belts the rookie back row and drops the ball with a minute to go, and he's like hulking up, right?
That's the saga. He's such a
He's...
I think he gets suspended, but
for like the last... I don't think he will. That was $1,000 if anything, right? That last 15 minutes from Joe Tarpany is the most aggressive, single most dominant 15 minutes. Go back and watch the tape. They had no ball, so they were just tackling.
They were.
And anytime they didn't run at Tarpany, it was like, oh, the Warriors, there's half a break there. Luke Metcalf was through a gap, and Tarpany just grabbed him and went, nah, son.
Not tonight.
Nah. Like, we ain't going to Golden Point again.
I am enjoying the green machine. I'm not gonna lie.
Yeah, like I'm an unabashed Jamal Fogarty fan, and we know this. But I've got a newfound love for Joe Tarpany after that 15 minutes.
Yep. Okay, weeks too.
Yeah, yeah. Not Matt Timoko.
All of them, especially Matt Timoko.
Dan,
talk to me, Terry.
We've got some tips coming up. We've got 2 Origin games and an almost full round of footy.
The old oldie.
Wednesday night.
Yep. The big one.
Where's this game played at?
Brisbane.
I don't even care.
Your Queenslanders
are going to get
state traitor.
They're going to get belted.
This is the worst possible thing for New South Wales going in as favourites. Everyone expects your lot to get flogged. I've seen this story before.
Now this doesn't count as a tip for us.
No, which is why I'm going to take Queensland.
I'm saying New South Wales.
Good. Jinx, jinx, jinx.
If New South Wales win, I'm claiming the tip.
Fair, jinx.
Now, on to the girls.
Speaking of New South Wales winning.
On Thursday night, the New South Wales girls will whitewash. Series sweep this.
If they turn up with any seriousness, they will win and win.
Yeah, unless they've been partying with Liverpool, who just look drunk.
Good on them.
Yeah.
They earned that right.
Then I think this is a whitewash.
This has been John Strange. As soon as he was appointed, I was celebrating the series win because last year the difference was coaching. Jesse Southwell, freak.
Yep.
Penatani Gray, freak. They're all geniuses. For Cronulla, Georgia Hanaway, number 7 in the making, has been called up for Queensland, so I hope she has a good game.
Is she on the bench or
She's on the bench. I hope she scores a try in a late 30-6 loss or whatever, but good for her. Yeah, I'm going to tip the Blues girls. I think in Newcastle, in what will be a monster crowd, I think they walk Queensland.
Yeah, I will be waving the flag for New South Wales in this game as well. Now let's the NRL Friday night, 8 o'clock. I don't know why. The Dragons are taking on the Knights. Why is this game the 8 o'clock game on a Friday?
I think everyone has to get a game at some stage, and they're like, yeah, whatever.
Sure, okay. The Dragons are terrible.
Yep.
Newcastle were pretty impressive. Their game plan of pass the ball to Dylan Lucas and hope for something. Yeah. He's awesome.
He's real good. Should have had a 4th try, but he tried to Superman dive, lost the ball.
Yeah,
he knew it too.
Yeah, he was a centre growing up, but it obviously hasn't been practicing.
No, not the winger put down. This can be fun because the Dragons are off the bye, and they're the Dragons. Newcastle are going to get Kalen Ponga back. I've seen some fans suggest
I don't think
they shouldn't. I wouldn't play him.
Yeah, I don't.
I'd leave Fletcher Sharp at 1.
Yeah, I don't think he'll play 2 days after an Origin game where he's got to travel. Then, his whole Thursday is taken up by travel.
True.
I don't think he plays. I don't think. Yeah, that's the game where I don't think he backs up. I'd be surprised if Valentine Holmes backs up.
Yeah,
for
that's fair.
The Dragons as well. On that note, I'm tipping the Dragons because I don't back Newcastle to play well 2 weeks in a row.
I'll go Newcastle because we've got to go different with no conviction at all.
No conviction at all. 3 o'clock on Saturday afternoon up at Robina. The Gold Coast Titans are hosting the Melbourne Storm. Now, the Storm had a bye.
Yep.
But they are coming off a loss.
Yeah, I was going to say.
Does that negate the jinx?
I don't think so. I think we're going to see a double jinx because I think if the Titans get within 20, that's a moral victory.
I've liked what I've seen from the Titans recently in the fact that they throw the ball around, they're attacking, but they can't defend anything.
This could be 50-30.
Any kind of pressure that gets put on the Titans, they crumble.
Yeah, they suck. We can say it.
Yeah, I'm going to pick the Storm.
Yeah, me too.
Yeah, nothing could talk me into tipping the Titans in this game. 5:30 up at Queensland Country Bank Stadium.
Way up there.
Yeah, the North Queensland Cowboys are hosting the Tigers now.
All right.
Again, a big contingent of Origin players.
Yep.
Do you know that from Brisbane, they actually have to travel further to Townsville than our players do back to Sydney?
Yes.
Yeah.
You know that. Queensland's huge.
Yeah, Queensland is absolutely enormous.
And disgusting.
The Tigers, they're not going to have Lachlan Galvin.
No, probably like.
So Dewey goes
no.
to 6?
Well, that young kid, Fainu's back.
Is he back?
Well, they're saying
banking
he
on
will
him
be.
being back?
I think he'll play.
Yeah. Ironing out
Kinda
period.
has to.
Yeah, ironing out period for the Tigers here. They're either going to come out with heaps of enthusiasm and shock the Cows, but I don't see that happening. I'm going the Cowboys.
Well, I'll go the Tigers for lols. And at this point, I don't even care who wins the tips. I still owe you a stake anyways. I think Jerome Luai's got a lot to prove. He would take that personally that he got dropped. He's probably the one who shouldn't. And if Terrell May doesn't come out and bash them, that'll be an understatement. I'll put a large size, ridiculous looking handbag on this result. Tigers.
And Saturday night at Four Pines Park, full of asbestos at Brookvale, the Eagles are taking on the Broncos.
Good time to get Brisbane.
Good time to get Brisbane after an Origin,
pops.
especially with Payne Haas. He's going to play big minutes in that game
Yeah.
as well. Manly, who they lose? They just lost DCE?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And Olakau'atu's 20-something man.
So he's been in camp. He played on the weekend for
he
Manly
did.
as well, right?
I'll also put that they've lost Turbo because he just...
Can't run.
That sucks because I'm a huge fan of this bloke.
Do you know what the easy switch is for Manly? Cooler.
Yeah,
a
straight
fullback.
Give it a couple of weeks. I reckon he'll do well.
Yeah, they have to. Cooler can move, Turbo can't.
Yep. Huge.
Adam
What do you do
Reynolds,
here?
Ezra Mam.
Yeah, I'm tipping Brisbane. I think Brisbane are going to go on a flick. They've read about how much they suck for the past 2 weeks. That's got to count. I don't know if Reece Walsh will be back. Probably not. But Manly's my...
Yeah,
can't
I'm
argue.
going to tip Brisbane as well. I can't do it. Sunday afternoon, 2 o'clock, the Rabbitohs are hosting the Warriors. Now, the Warriors off a shock loss at home to the mighty Raiders. The Rabbits off a bye. Indecisive form. Latrell will be back, provided he doesn't kill anyone in Origin.
It's possible.
Possible. Form guide for this one.
Warriors are up and down. They're sitting third at -5.
Someone said, is this the bubble that burst for them?
Maybe, probably not. Depends who the Bunnies names. They're expecting to hold the players back. I'll go the Warriors.
I'll go the Rabbits.
So I don't know. This is literally toss.
There'll be heaps of Kiwis in the crowd.
Yep.
When someone said it, I thought it resonated with me that, maybe this is the bubble that burst. Like the Warriors have been on an absolute high.
They have.
Maybe the burst here.
Maybe.
And cracker to finish the round off. The Roosters are hosting the Raiders. Now the Roosters, so impressive. I'd be interested to see how many of those kids remain in the team.
Yeah, true. A few backing up from Origin.
Up against the Raiders, who are absolutely flying now. It's a shame that the Dogs have a bye this weekend coming because they get the automatic 2 points. But the Raiders, man, if they put on a scoreline here, they'll have a bit of for and against.
Yeah.
They're the best attacking team in the competition. They're one of the best defensive teams in the competition. They're the most fun team to watch in the competition at the moment as well. They just... Anytime the Raiders have the ball, you just feel like they can score a try or a break is going to be made. Ethan Strange, I think he's just like super, super consistent in the fact that he's ordinary all the time, but that works for him.
Yeah, he's a little bit above ordinary.
Yeah, is he? Maybe, but I really like what I'm seeing from the Raiders. I'm going to pick them to continue their winning form against the Roosters.
Well, I'll go the Roosters for whatever. I think they'll expect a big crowd of, 3,200.
Money ball on this game.
All right, let's do money ball.
We don't have a money ball game.
And Roosters fans, just let the Bunnies have their stadium back.
Hey everyone, thank you for tuning into the episode of Rugby League Outlaws.
No Sharks this week.
No Sharks this week. Origin though. Shut the comp down.